Shout out to all you Money Heist fans out there. This is Universidad El Profesor. We are going to talk about the literature review today, so let's get started right now. This is an exciting time. You all are probably working on your literature reviews if you found this video. I do want to make a note that this is specific to my classes, special education in particular. There are many different ways to do a literature review. Professors across education, even within education, have different expectations of literature review. So be sure that you're asking your professors what is expected of you in different classes. That's not to say that you can't use the work that you do here for other classes or even your start paper, thesis, or dissertation, whatever you might be working on. So I just want to make that clear before we get going, because you may see information different in different places. Okay, enough of that rambling. Let's get down to it. What is a literature review? Basically a collection of scholarly articles. Okay, in this class, in our classes here in special education, we're going to focus on peer-reviewed research. Okay, so that means that it has gone through the process of outside revisions, outside edits made by typically a respectable journal. And I'm going to show you how to look for those in just a few minutes here. But really, we're not going to look at things like Wikipedia, blogs, or even really professional organizations, okay? We're going to stay within journals that have typically a high impact factor, so that we can get high quality literature reviews, okay? Why are we going to do this? For students, this can be a good introduction to different topics. Maybe you are excited about a specific topic and you really want to become an expert on that and go into your practice, whatever that may be. This is a great way to become familiar with what is going on in the literature. Okay, some other reasons why we might conduct a literature review. If we're preparing to do a thesis, a dissertation, or if you're working with another professor, maybe you're working with me in some research, we can use the literature review as an introduction. Okay, it really sets up why we're going to do the research that we're doing. Okay, so in our classes, in our coursework, it's probably going to be more focused on a central topic and really learning and going deep into what it means to be an expert in that topic. Okay, so there's multiple layers to writing a literature review. And again, you're going to have to ask your instructor, your professor, what is the purpose? Why am I doing this literature review? Have a firm understanding of that answer before you get going. You don't want to get lost in the weeds. You don't want to be looking at the forest and the trees, whatever that saying is. So be clear, establish that great foundation, understand why you are writing the literature review. Okay, so what are we going to do in the literature review once we establish why and what we're doing? We're going to summarize, synthesize, and analyze. Okay, 3 words that maybe they sound familiar to you. Maybe you need a dictionary. When I wrote my first literature review, I needed a dictionary right next to me, and I needed to understand the definitions of summarize, synthesize, and analyze. Okay, so these have 3 very different meanings, and you're going to include all 3 in the literature review that you do for my class, for the start papers that I chair your start papers or your thesis. This is how we're going to set it up. Okay, so it's clear that the summary is pretty obvious, a brief statement on the main points of the scholarly work. Okay, we're not necessarily going step by step and 1 paragraph for each scholarly article that you read, but we are summarizing the main points here. So if we have a couple of different themes within these scholarly articles that kind of center under one topic, then we are going to summarize those different themes. So picture it as an umbrella. Okay, you have your umbrella term, and then under that umbrella term, you have different themes that build and lead to that one term. Okay, so within the themes, maybe there's 2 or 3 articles that have one theme, 2 or 3 articles that have another theme, and we're basically summarizing those. We're summarizing the main points. Okay. Synthesize, we're going to put them all together into one coherent argument, one statement. So if we do have those themes, what are those themes saying? Okay, what is the basic argument? Okay, so we're trying to read And we've moved on from summarizing. Now we're trying to interpret these scholarly articles. What are they saying? Okay. Then we're gonna combine this, and we're gonna kind of come away with a clear argument for our one broad umbrella topic that we're analyzing here. Okay, the next step is analyzing. So we're going to determine the relationship between these scholarly works. Okay, so all of these themes kind of come together for one relationship. Okay, it's pretty obvious here that we're focusing in on teaching, and what are the themes within teaching, and maybe one topic within teaching. So we're going to come away with the relationship that those themes in the scholarly work present to us. Okay, so let's take a look at how we're going to put this together. And don't worry, hang in there. We're going to look at how we go through this process towards the end of this recording. All right, so part one is your introduction. We're always going to start with the introduction, no matter what kind of research paper or publication we're doing. It's always the introduction first. So we're gonna start with the topic. Okay. If we're doing a thesis or dissertation, this section is going to be a little bit longer. However, if we're doing a simple literature review, for our classes, it's probably not going to be too lengthy. All right, we want to, by the time we're done with the introduction, we're going to be clear, concise, but we want to know what the key themes are. Okay? We don't want to talk all about them, because that's going to be in the next section, but we do want a kind of a preview of what is to come. Okay, so in our introduction, we start with our big, broad umbrella term, and then we kind of funnel it down into the themes and present what our paper is going to talk about. Okay, the method section, now in our thesis, a dissertation, it's going to be kind of a separate standalone section. But in our literature review, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for, the literature review, this is going to be a subsection, okay, because the literature review for our classes, it's going to be a standalone document. Okay, we're not putting it into the thesis, we're not putting it into the dissertation yet. Okay, maybe I'll work with you when you're ready for that part. Maybe this class is going to set you up for that thesis or dissertation. But for now, we're just having a literature review that is a standalone document. Therefore, we're going to place the method section in the introduction towards the end of the introduction. And what goes in the method? Well, it's exactly what you might envision. Okay, your method of conducting this literature review. Okay, so how did you find the articles? What was the location of where you found the articles? What key terms did you use? And how did you decide what to include and what to exclude? Okay, did you find an article that was about autism when you really wanted to look at Down syndrome? Okay, so you're going to exclude the article about autism and keep the article about Down syndrome because your focus is Down syndrome. Okay, so that's an exclusion criteria. An inclusion criteria, maybe we're talking about an age range. Any study that was conducted with the ages between 18 and 21. Okay, so inclusion, exclusion criteria, key terms, location, that's all going to fall under the method section. Okay, and in this case, the subsection. All right, part two, the body. This is going to be the bulk of our work here. And guess what? Those three words pop up again. Summarize, synthesize, and analyze. Okay, these can be different subsections within your main body of the paper of your literature review. That is okay. We'll take a look at one example here in a second. But all three of these must be present in this literature review that you're working on for my classes. Okay. So summarize, give an overview of the main points we talked about, synthesize, shape your argument, combine the important themes, analyze, discuss, and provide your own interpretations. Okay, so we're going to look at some tips here, but in this section, we're really going to use our own words, our own language to build out this body, the body of the literature review. And then can we guess what's coming next? The conclusion. Okay, so this again is just a standalone document. It's just the literature review. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. What are the key findings? So after, we summarized all of those main themes, and then we synthesized them. We brought them together to form this argument. And then we analyze what is the relationship, right? So what are the key findings then? What is the impact maybe on teaching in a certain field or placement? What is the impact on the profession as a whole? Okay, so why, what can we, take away from all of these scholarly articles that we just read? We're going to answer our research questions in our thesis and dissertation. So we're going to set that up. We're going to ask, a research question in those two bigger documents. And then we're going to describe the impacts, findings that we have on our profession, as I just said there. So we have the introduction, the body, and then the conclusion. And for the standalone document in the literature review, that's all we're doing. Okay, if you're writing a thesis, if you're writing a dissertation, we'll get to different parts of that, what we call maybe chapters. And we'll have more videos on how to extend the literature review into the thesis and dissertation. But for now, we're just talking about here. Okay, so let me give you an example layout. Now I know this is a lot of words and it doesn't really look quite like a Word document. This is just an example, okay? You're gonna have to ask your professor, your instructors, what kind of layout they want you to follow. Ask if they have examples. Make sure that you're following APA. And again, we're going to go through some more tips here in just a second. But if you notice in the bold, we have the introduction, results, and conclusion. And then we have some subsections that are italicized. Okay, so the method, underneath the results, we have summary, synthesize, analysis. And then under the conclusion, we have application to teaching, limitations, future research, and basically our just summary of our conclusion here. Okay, so these again are just examples, and these words can be different in different literature reviews, different classes. If your thesis chair, your dissertation chair wants a different layout, follow those guidelines set forth there. Okay, for our classes, we're again just doing the standalone document, and we're not getting too intense into this. Okay. But these classes and this literature review could set you up very well for your STAR paper, for your thesis, for your dissertation down the road. Okay, so we want to build some good habits. We want to make sure that we're following these guidelines here in this video, and then we're going to present our well-rounded research at the end of these classes here. Okay, so some tips: avoid first-person language. So we don't want to go through the document saying I. Or in my teaching experience, or at my school, or I have a brother who has autism. We want to avoid first-person language, okay? We don't want to use quotes. So if you have this really strong point maybe in your conclusion that you really want to hammer home a point about your profession, maybe then it's okay to use one quote, but the fewer the better, okay? We don't want quotes all throughout the paper because we want to use our own language, our own words, our own interpretations of what these scholarly articles are saying. Okay, do not paraphrase. This along the same lines as using quotes. We don't want to pull out paragraphs and just kind of rearrange words or anything like that. Of course, you're not going to do that, right? We're not going to plagiarize or even come close to plagiarizing. We're going to use our own words, use our own language throughout the paper. Okay, organization tips. So, again, I had that layout in the previous slide. Make sure that layout is, clear, coherent, simple, concise, to the point. We want to make sure that we're using topic sentences, transition sentences. And we also, in our classes here that you're going to take with me, and for our STAR papers, we want to organize thematically. Okay. Now, again, organization and literature reviews can take many different shapes, many different forms. Okay, we can do it we can do it chronologically, for example, but here we want to do it thematically. Okay, so primarily because in teaching we want to see the themes throughout teaching, and we want to be able to apply those themes to our profession as we go out. Okay, so just some tips there. Formatting, I'm going to show you the APA style website here in just a second, but if you don't have the APA manual, make sure you get the APA manual. It's worth your investment. If you buy the manual, you can also have access to some tools and resources on the APA style website. Okay, so go ahead and purchase that manual if you haven't already purchased it. You'll use it all throughout college. Okay, especially if you're in graduate school and getting your master's or your doctorate. Okay, so please go ahead and purchase that APA manual. Cover page, reference page, 12-point font, 1-inch margins, Times New Roman font. Pretty basic and straightforward there. This is just, again, for uniformity. And in my classes, it's, the way I have my examples that I give you all, and when we share with our peers and present with our peers, it just creates a very clear formatting that we all can abide by, okay? Questions asked, so ask me, ask your other professors, your other instructors, be sure you're asking questions. If you don't know, ask. If you don't know what you don't know, ask, just ask as many questions as you can. It's okay. We live in an age of email on our phones, computers. We have quick access to resources. So we can help you find answers if you don't know how to search or something like that, whatever. Just ask, all right? All right, so just some questions, example questions here that I have. How many sources should I use? Okay, ask that question if it's not clear. It's going to vary in my different classes, your thesis, STAR papers that I share, it's going to all be different. Sources are per minute. So primarily, and I'm going to show you these here in just a second, but we use ERIC and PsycInfo, okay? And we'll link those to the St. Cloud State website as well. So just 1 minute on that. Do I have a sample? I have samples. I'm sure your professors have samples too. Just ask. So don't be afraid to ask to see an example. We have them. Now, again, remember that different topics and different courses may have different organizations and formatting and stuff like that. So while we have lots of examples, this is going to be your paper, okay? Do not ask for the following, how many pages? That's the question I always get. I always get that question. I'm not going to put a page limit on this. Maybe I'll say, if you ask me how many pages, I might say 200. Okay, no, just kidding. I'm not going to make you write 200 pages. But it's really hard to put a page limit on these lit reviews because it depends on how many sources you're going to have, what kind of formatting you have. Are you writing a STAR paper, thesis, dissertation, or just a lit review? It's all different, okay? So we're not going to put page limitations on this, on any of my classes, okay? All right, what else? Some resources here in this PowerPoint. PsycInfo, if you just Google PsycInfo, it'll pop up, or ERIC, or the SCSU library. All these will pop up if you just Google them, okay? These are the websites that we're primarily going to use. Again, we're going to stay away from Wikipedia, blogs. We're going to stay away from Facebook, Twitter, all that. We're going to stay away from that. We're going to write an academic paper here with a literature review, okay? All right, but wait, for $9.99, you can get an extra walkthrough, okay? All right, we're going to walk through this. I'm going to flip over to my different screen here and show you some of these websites and how to kind of go about doing this, but just going to quickly get you up and going for the literature review. You will have additional resources in your classes, your D2L sites. You're going to have all kinds of information and knowledge that you can go to after this recording for sure. So don't let this be the end. But let's go through a quick walkthrough. Pick a specific topic that interests you. So if you don't know me, I am all about transition planning, interagency collaboration, all those fancy words that talk about 18 to 21-year-old settings in public schools and moving them to adult life, okay? So one topic that I'm really interested in is job performance during work experiences in transition programs for individuals with intellectual disability. Okay, that is a long, I don't even know if that's a sentence. That's just a long topic, long topic, but it's specific, right? We have some good keywords in there. So I picked my topic, and then I'm going to focus in on those keywords, okay? Job performance, intellectual disability, transition. Okay, those are some keywords, I think. So we kind of get the picture of what I'm interested in researching, right? We're not gonna, we know that transition is 18 to 21, so we're gonna exclude any research article that incorporated, 14-year-olds, right? I'm interested in intellectual disability, so I'm gonna exclude any article that talks about ADHD, right? And then job performance, so we have a specific setting. So these individuals are out working, and I want to know what their performance is when they're working. So very, very specific topic. And then I have very specific keywords that I'm going to use. And with that, I already set my parameters, right? And then I can go one step further and maybe even round those parameters out a little bit so that I can really find the articles that I'm looking for. Okay, so I set I set a date range, 2010 to 2021. Wow, it's 2021. Man, I wonder how long this video is going to stay up on YouTube. Anyways, I have an 11-year range. That's pretty wide range, I would say. I'm sure you could find a lot of articles in 2004, let's say, but 2004, that was 17 years ago. Whew, time flies, right? So do we really want an article 17 years old? I don't think so. So let's just zone in on what's the most recent. So 2010 to 2021. We want it peer reviewed. We want ages 18 to 21. We already said we're looking at intellectual disability, job performance, and transition. So that's pretty good parameters, right? We're going to find some really good articles with those parameters. Search using approved databases. Okay, I already told you we're going to use ERIC, PsycInfo, collect articles, read them, and then begin. I have some good graphic organizers for you to use. You can find those on your D2L site for whichever class you may be taking, may be enrolled in. So be sure to use those graphic organizers as you're reading the articles. It'll help you organize your articles. It'll help you go back to them so you don't have to continually scan them. They're really, it's a handy dandy graphic organizer, right? All right, and then we can begin writing our literature review, and you can go back to slide 3 on this PowerPoint and go through the steps of writing your literature review. And of course, I'll be there to help you, edit and revise, and I can help you as we go through the process of writing this literature review. Okay, so let me flip over to my screen. I just want to show you some of these topics, what it looks like to actually search through them. So as you can see here, I'm on the ERIC website. Notice that this is an Institute of Educational Sciences. So this is a US Department of Education website. It stems from some research done and funding. What this is just Google. It's Google for scholarly articles, right? All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is collect peer-reviewed only articles, right? We noticed some topics in there that we already talked about. So what am I going to do? What was my topic, did I say? Job performance. Oh, yes, let's get to job performance. So I'm going to say job performance during, no. Don't do that, Brian. What are your key terms? Your key terms are job performance, intellectual disability, and what else? Oh, transition, right? Because you're passionate about transition planning. Okay, so I have my key terms in there, select it peer review only, and then I'm going to hit search or enter just like I do on Google. And here we go. Boom. All right, so we got all kinds of articles that just popped up, right? So what did I say about parameters? I said I'm going to narrow those articles down. So the last 10 years, I'm going to select that. You can see there's plenty within the last 10 years, 965. Okay, shout out to Dr. Gulson, one of my colleagues at Vanderbilt. We have some other Vanderbilt people in there as well. Hey, all right, so 965 articles, students with disability. Okay, we got our descriptors over here. Listen, you're gonna have to go through these articles, right? I wanna keep this video short so that don't put you to sleep too soon. But you have all kinds of information over here, descriptors, sources, authors. Rest assured that all of these articles on here are scholarly articles. It's a database for that. We selected peer reviewed, so there. Now we just want to make sure they meet the rest of our parameters. So we want to make sure that these articles are talking about job performance, intellectual disability, and transition settings, okay? So there's that. Let's say you want to find an article, you click on it and you say, oh, I can't access it, right? I can't access it, having trouble because it's not available on ERIC. Okay, so what you can do, you can highlight this title. Oh boy, Brian, come on, where are your highlighting skills? Develop, okay. Copy that, and then if you notice I have the library tab open over here, flip over to that. I'm gonna pull down menu, make sure that scholarly articles are selected, and then just paste right in there. Okay, this is not always a flawless process here. Sometimes the article doesn't pop up. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we'll just go back to ERIC and then we'll find another article and we'll make sure that we can get the article to pop up here. There's another longer way that I'll show you in a different video of how to identify the articles within the journal. So as an SCSU student, you have access to most journals, okay? And using your your star ID, your login for SCSU, you can access those journals. But this is just a quick way to get to those articles, okay? And then let's say, your article pops up, you click on it, and it'll have a download link for you, okay? So that's just a quick way to find those articles. You'll have to look at the other video to actually go through journals and find the article if it doesn't come up here, okay? Notice some other tabs that I have open, APA, okay, this is a PsycInfo. This is also a Google database, Google-like database, and then APA style. If you want some resources, okay, notice that this student has the manual right next to the computer in her textbook. That's pretty awesome, right? That's what I want to see. I want to see you get that manual, order it, read it, and have it by your side as you do this literature review. Okay, I think that is it for this video. You can certainly check out other videos. You can go to my YouTube page, you can go to your D2L site, and hopefully you find this video. You also find the video about how to access journals and any resources that might be available to help you with a literature review on your D2L site. Okay, that is all from your El Profesor, and I will see you in another Zoom recording. Take care, good luck, and excited to read your papers.